inconsistency with fundamental rights. Only the repugnant provision of the law in question shall be treated by the court as void and not the whole statute. And some of the provisions of the statute become unconstitutional on account of inconsistency. Constitutional provision of statute rights. Only the repugnant provision of the law in question shall be treated by the court as void, the whole statute. Rajendra N. Saha was Union of India. Gujarat High Court ruled 1997 act as unconstitutional because at IXB without the necessary ratification by the state was ultra vires. In the PPL filed against this judgment, the Supreme Court declared that provision of the Amendment Act with regard to multi-state cooperative society will be valid. The doctrine of severability in the Constitution of India is a preeminent principle to protect the fundamental rights of the every citizens. As it is to validate any law that was enacted either in the present Parliament or Legislative Assembly or in the constitutional period against the mentioning part IXB necessary ratification. Quixote Holon versus Chachilo 1980. In this case, the paragraph 7 of the 10th schedule, which was first inserted by the 52nd Amendment, Act 1985, was declared as unconstitutional because it had violated the provision under Article 368. But the whole part was not declared unconstitutional. 10 schedules. Act 1985 was declared as unconstitutional. Violated the provision under Article 368(2). Whole part is not declared unconstitutional. Instead of Bombay RMD, actually, the court applied the doctrine of severability. In this case, laid down various rules regarding the said doctrine. The said doctrine. So Bombay FN Balasar. When check out the disputed statute here was Bombay Prohibition Act, where the unconstitutional provision was held void and inoperative, while the other part of the act was enacted and the statute was still remaining in the force. AK Gopal versus State of Madras. The disputed statute here was Preventive Detention Act 1950. Right to Article 19 and 21 of the Indian Constitution, the Supreme Court order Section 14 of the Act to be severed and held void. So the other provisions remain intact within the statute. Here is Preventive Detention Act. Order the Section 14 of the Act to be severed and held void. Supreme Court order void. But on the proof, the person who brings the matter up to the court and alleges the said statute violated the fundamental rights, it is on her him to prove that his or fundamental rights have been violated. Severability. When a particular part of the statute bounds beyond the fundamental rights, very part of the statute act would be declared void, provided that the unconstitutional part of the statute law is separable. But if the unconstitutional part of the statute is inseparable, the statute will be held void. Unconstitutional part of the statute law is separable. Part of the statute is inseparable, then statute is severability. So will be held void. The burden of the proof for the person who nature of the disputed provision. The disputed provision is provided to be inconsistent with the fundamental rights. Hold it to be void unless the same is not proven. The said doctrine would not be applicable. Article 13(1) enables High Courts and Supreme Court to restrain and review any statute. Any consular minister to aid and advise to governor when this constitution requires him to exercise his functions in his discretions. This discretionary power and ambiguity in certain provision and sometimes misused by the governor, leading to certain controversies which have been seen in recent times. The Telangana government filed a petition in Supreme Court seeking a direction to the governor to grant assent to bills passed by the Assembly, Legislative Assembly, advice of the governor. Except when this constitution requires him to exercise his functions in his discretion power. Given discretion power, he exercises his own power. When the constitution requires him to exercise his function, this discretionary power and ambiguity in certain provision, sometimes misused by the governor, leading to certain controversies. The power, discretionary power and ambiguity in the such provision, which have been seen in recent times also.